As we get to the end of September, Saturday, September 29th, 2018, Kenny Cummins is here. Thank you for spending yet another Saturday with us. Truly appreciate it. Hope everybody is making adjustments to the fall season wherever you may be. Maybe cool, maybe warm but cool, but the cold weather is going to happen to us all eventually, so get used to it. So I'm happy to be joined with a returning guest on the show, hip-hop artist, award-winning hip-hop artist, goes by the name of Venomiss. She's with me right now. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. Thanks for having me.
Welcome back to the show, and having you back on the show around this time is kind of perfect because there is a movie coming out next week called Venom. And
I heard about that.
And I have an artist by the name of Venomiss. So it kind of...
No correlation, though. I'm not named after Venom.
Yeah, so no. So...
but that's okay. You can still like my music if you like Venom. It's okay.
So just thought I'd put something like that out there. But, so I had you on the show, I think it was January of last year, 2017. Yes. And you've been on the grind, as you always are. You've been on the grind since then, putting out music here and there. You got Whoopi, you got all types of songs that's out. And I played a couple of songs earlier. I played Whoopi. I like that song. You did a music video for it. Talk about that song. What was it like recording it, and what was it like having a music video for it?
Whoopi is one of those songs that, I recorded it, I recorded it the year earlier for the previous album, and I wasn't really sold on everything about it. I had the verses, I liked the verses, but I wanted to do something different with the hook. So it was one of those records that I sat on and tweaked it a little bit before I released it. And when it was finally the way I liked it and I released it, I was like, yo, this is the one. I really like this song. I like how it came out. People are really gravitating towards it. So we shot the video. We shot it at a friend of mine had an event that I was actually performing at, and he allowed me to use the first hour of the event to shoot the music video, which was really dope because I brought a lot of people out to his event in turn, but it was nice to be able to use the space with him and get a couple cameos and stuff like that. So it was a really dope experience for me. Whoopi was the first video where I collaborated on a larger scale and had so many moving parts because I had 30 or 40 people who came out to support the video who aren't even in the main shots of the video. So it was really, really, it's a lot of work putting it together. And it was a lot of just trying to keep track of everything and keep track of timing. But we got it done. We made it look great. It was fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. Shout out to T-Dot. He's the one who shot that video. It's been on countdowns all across the country. It's been on music countdowns internationally. So it definitely is a quality video, and it was fun. It was just fun. We were in the club having a good time. I have my girls in VIP with me. My homeboy, he played my love interest in the video. He's funny because he, a year earlier, was like, yo, when you do a video, I need to act. I want to act. So I was like, you know what? I got the perfect one for you. So he plays my boyfriend in the video or the guy that I'm interested in. And it was a good vibe because I was around great people. So it was a great video.
So what I like about you as an artist is that, you definitely have content. You got bars. You got substance. And and for someone like yourself that's an independent artist, you pay for everything and things like that. People gravitate around your music, and that female rappers, we know that they have always had to work twice as hard, and they're awesome, talented rappers, female rappers, other than the mainstream, and I feel like you right up there with some of the talented artists out, and you continue to grind, you continue to push forward, and I see the likes, I seen the comments, I seen people really rock with your music like that. So
Yeah.
I like what I hear. So, props to you as an artist for what you do, for what you bring to the rap game. It's very,
Thank you.
it's definitely worth listening to. And for you as an independent artist, what do you feel like the biggest challenge you face as far as trying to get your music out there?
Honestly, you know what? Like you said, it's very hard for a female rapper. Sexism is very alive and well. People don't want to acknowledge it because it's a male-dominated industry, and the census is, oh well, you just deal with it. If this is what you want to do, then you deal with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the reality of it is there's a lot of double standards. There's things that you get asked to do, but they wouldn't ask a male to do it. Or there's things they ask you to say that they wouldn't ask somebody else to say. It's very frustrating in some regards, because if you come on too strong, then you're considered a B. Like, oh, she's a B, she's conceited. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just standing up for what I believe in and me as a brand. So I've had to walk a very fine line between being aggressive about what I will and will not tolerate, and also being open enough and receptive enough to let people in and get to know people so that I can network and collaborate and grow. So you have to be very mindful. And I'm not just talking about like guys thinking you're attractive or things like that. That comes with the territory. When you're a beautiful woman, people are going to think you're attractive. It happens. Not worried about that, but worried about more double standards. Like, for example, they put together a lot of all-female showcases. They don't necessarily put together all-male showcases. So it's kind of like, okay, why do we have to separate female rap from male rap all the time? It's okay to do female showcases, don't get me wrong, like I do them.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm saying is, like, we sometimes I feel like we put the female rap in too much of a subgenre, to the point that it's like there's rap and then there's female rap. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so you have a lot of people who don't even give female rappers a chance, because in their mind we're all rapping about sex or our bodies or our vaginas, so they think that's all we all rap about. And then they get exposed to people like Jean Grey and other females who are not rapping about that at all. And they're like, oh, I didn't know female rappers rapped about all that. That's because you were only exposed to one type of female, because you want for, so to speak, what you were attracted to, as opposed to taking the time to listen to other people, not just what if she looked good, I'm going to listen to her music. Okay, well, what about the other ones that didn't look good to you? They might have had some dope music. So it's a catch-22. That, to me, is the biggest frustration, because it's a very fine line between separating yourself and putting yourself in a different category and a different mindset, and also limiting yourself. So you have to, like, dance the line, so to speak. Like, you have to know where the cutoff is, and where to keep going and where to cut off. Like, one thing I've done recently is I've branched out into modeling and acting, doing more modeling and acting. And at first my fans are like, because I've always been the tomboy. I've been girly, but I'm a tomboy. So a lot of my fans are like, oh, you trying to sell sex as your image? And I said, no, not really. I'm a woman, though, at the end of the day, so I still have to be a woman. And, when they saw that the images were tasteful, that I wasn't doing anything crazy, I didn't go overboard, everything was, like, tastefully sexy, then they kind of backed off of me. Because, Lord, when I first started modeling, the inboxes I was getting, like, oh, why do you feel the need to do that? I think you're a good artist the way you are. You should go back to wearing hoodies and because you were so dope, because you were individual, blah, blah, blah. But then when they saw that, like, I'm still incorporating that into my image, like, my image hasn't changed that much, then they were like, oh, all right, you're okay. It's cool. I can deal with it.
Fans could be very something else.
They're very afraid of change,
Yeah.
And shout out to my fans, because my fans, I mean, you would have thought like it was my aunts and uncles calling me, because they're like, what do you need to make sure and I'm like, oh my God, okay, like, but I take what my fans say to heart, and that was always important to me, was to not overdo it. Like, I don't want to be the sex kitten, the video vixen, but I definitely am still a woman at the end of the day. And that was important when I started rebranding myself, was to make sure that I still incorporate the fact that I'm still a woman. At the end of the day, I got bars, but like my slogan for the past 3 years has been Brains Beauty Bars because I have all three. So.
And it shows, it's one thing for parents and family to act that way, but obviously fans, they're gonna jump to conclusions right away instead of like get a full understanding, and,
Right.
nowadays it is about expanding yourself, instead of being
Right.
one dimensional, and you're doing that with the acting and the modeling, and I mean, you're a beautiful woman, and you just continue to, it's just showing that you're more than just one thing. And
Right, and I have a book coming too. I write stories as well. I have 2 books I'm putting out next year in 2019. I've got some more acting roles coming up. I'm the type of person where I enjoy being creative. I don't care what my outlet is, just as long as I can be creative. So for me, music is just one avenue of creativity that I have. I can do lots of things. I can paint, I can act, I can model, I can write stories, like I can write poetry. I just like to create. I make beats. Like I really like to create. Like I don't care what I'm creating as long as I'm creating. That's when I'm happiest. So that being said, I'm going to start pushing out. I've got a publishing contract for my books, so I'm going to start pushing out my books. I've got some light work coming out first, and then I'm going to dive into my novels and my fiction and stuff like that. But I've got that lined up for next year, more videos, another album. Got one album finished now, and I'm working on album number 4. So album 3 will be out soon, and then album 4 is coming behind it. So I literally never stop.
I didn't know you make beats. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So used to the male producers, but you're the first female producer that I know of.
I do. I make beats. I had lost my voice. I had an issue with my vocal cords. I lost my voice for 6 months, and it was driving me crazy because I couldn't rap. So I started also making beats. I don't rap on the beats that I make just because I feel like I've given it enough life and creativity. I want to see what somebody else can do with it. But I can. I mean, I have in the past, but I choose to, give them to other people and let them do what they do with it. But, it was just a creative outlet for me during that time when I'm like, okay, I can't speak, so what do I do now,
It just goes back to the evolving, expanding things, showing that you can do more and how versatile that you are. So that's pretty amazing. So you got books on the way, you got new music on the way, you got a lot in store. So as far as, I think I've heard that you did a show recently. You was an opening act for Papoose.
Yes, I did. We did the audition in DC. I opened. Yeah. I won the audition. In DC, and then the show was in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So it was pretty. I mean, it was decent. I've done a lot of things. I've opened for KRS-One. I've opened for Nappy Roots. I've opened for Rich Homie Quan, Mario. I've opened for Pastor Troy, Lil Mo. I've opened for, I'm trying to think who else, Lil Mo, Crime Mob. I've opened for quite a few celebrities, and by grace of God, these are shows that I'm being paid to do, which is amazing in its own. Like, not a lot of independent artists can say that, so I'm very appreciative for what I've done. I've just constantly pushed my brand and just tried to network with the promoters and the club owners, and then that way when they have major acts come in, they have me to call to open, which has been really helpful for me and great. And, I like performing. I love being on stage, and I just love the energy. And I feel like the show that I learned the most from would have been KRS-One, because watching that man run around stage by himself for a good 30 minutes,
yeah,
with no hype man, no nothing. It's just him. His son is his DJ. It's just him and a mic running back and forth on stage. If the sound is wrong, he stops and he freestyles until they get it right. Like, just watching him work that crowd and work that stage, was such a surreal learning experience for me because I like to say I'm a student of hip-hop. Every show I do, every artist, whether they're signed or unsigned that I encounter, I feel like I can learn something from. So I say I'm a student of hip-hop, and I will always be a student of hip-hop because hip-hop is something that every time you think you know everything you know about hip-hop, there's always something else to learn or something else to experience. So, like, in those moments where I'm watching somebody I've opened for perform, there's so much to learn. And from him, I learned about my crowd control. Like, just watching him, I opened for him twice, one in Greensboro and one in Richmond, Virginia. And just watching him control the crowd, I learned a heck of a lot. It was one I would never, you couldn't give me $1 million to trade that moment because I learned so much in those 2 times that I opened for him. So it's just, for me, it's all about growth and trying to get my brand everywhere it can get. And I'll be honest, like, sometimes you do a show and you open for somebody and, it's not all it's cracked up to be. The people aren't ready for people aren't quite ready yet because they're just getting in. Who's this person on stage? I'm just here to see this person. They're not out here yet. What time is it coming out? So you have to really, to be an opener, you have to really know how to reel your crowd in and get them anticipating the major act that's coming. Because if you don't, they're just gonna look at you like they don't know who you are. Like, okay, who's that? And I'm gonna use a good example of that. I saw 112 in concert opening for New Edition when I was in high school, and it was like a New Edition reunion or something like that. And I saw them opening, and 112 was up there performing with Mace. And I was like, who the heck is this group? Who are they? What are they singing about? What is this song? I wish they would go away. Like, I'm so ready for the main act. Fast forward 6 months, and that song, 112 Only You, was everywhere.
Yeah.
So that being said, and then, LMA is a good example of that, too. She performed Boot Up she would open for people. And she would never perform Boot Up, and then finally she added Boot Up to her set, and people went crazy over it. And that's how it wound up blowing up. She's had that song for 2 years. So, you never know what is going to be the moment that's going to connect people to you. So when you're opening for somebody, you just have to, whether they're known or unknown, you just have to put your best effort into making yourself memorable.
Well said, and that's pretty awesome that you've had a chance to be an open act for KRS-One twice. Just one time for anybody will be good enough, but twice for you, that speaks volumes. And I consider him the teacher of hip hop, man. Like,
he's absolutely a teacher.
He's a teacher, and
I met them at the airport by accident, and they invited me to his show, and I was like, this is my one chance to tell him I rap. So, his wife had me in VIP with them, and, she's like, do you want anything? I said, just a Red Bull and some M&Ms. She got me a Red Bull and some M&Ms. That's my thing. And, when I'm at a show I'm performing, I need a Red Bull and I need M&Ms. So I'm just sitting in VIP with her eating these peanut M&Ms and drinking a Red Bull, and I kind of slipped it up to her like, hey, I rap. And she's like, really? And she's like, oh, my God, I want to hear your stuff. So I sent them back they were driving to her show in New York the next day. So after the show, they were driving to New York, and I sent them with my album, and they listened to it the whole way to New York. And by the time they got to New York, she called me on the phone and was like, hey, we need you to open for him in Richmond, and we need you to open for, really it was 3 shows. It was supposed to be Charlotte, Richmond, and Greensboro, but it snowed that time, so we couldn't do Charlotte. But she was like, I need you to open for him in Richmond and Greensboro. And he cut his set. They cut his set by 10 minutes to allow me time to perform because the people who were set to do the show were already in place. So he cut his set by 10 minutes so that I could have 10 minutes to rap.
Wow. That's pretty dope,
It's nothing but God. Nothing but God. There's no reason why I should have ran into him in the airport.
Hey, something was,
so,
it's just one of those moments that it was just meant to be. And
it's always forever going to be my number one hip-hop story because, I walked in there and I said, you're KRS-One, and he said, yes, I am. And we all just started laughing. And he's so tall, first of all. But it was one of those moments that I wouldn't trade for anything because I was like, wow, this is my one chance to tell this man who I grew up listening to that I do music.
And you know, the rest is history. You know,
Yep.
shout out to the legends that paved the way for the artists of today. And you know, and it's never too old to go back and listen to some One DMC, to LL Cool J, and KRS and Beastie Boys. You know, old school rules. Okay,
Right.
there's just no
Right.
there's just no other way to slice it. For more info on my guest this evening, you can check out her website at venomissworld.com. That's all the music, the videos, upcoming shows, and everything else involving Miss Venomiss. And it was great to have you back on the show and getting caught
Thank
up
you
with
for
me.
having me.
Thank you for sharing that KRS-One story. That was very insightful, and it just shows that hopefully young up-and-coming hip-hop artists will listen to that part in particular just to get an understanding that hip-hop can help change the world, you know, can make a difference. And a guy like KRS will be a good example to hear and understand
Yeah.
what he's all about and what hip-hop is all about. But thank you for being on. Continued success, and
Thank you.
you enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you. You too. I'll talk to you next time.
All right, bye-bye.